Thursday afternoon. Still trying to figure out what day it is this week. I'm still a day behind. It is Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow. He's Mo Patton, and we are glad to be here with you. Man, what a week it's been. We had so much news to catch up on, Mo, and then they just kept piling it on.
News never stops.
We say that, and then wait, like the third week of July or second week of July, it's going to be like,
Well, the dead period.
could y'all have saved us anything, please?
Well, hopefully we won't have any coaching changes over the dead period as we have been wont to do over the last couple of summers.
It almost never fails.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, yeah, we're gonna be trying to drum up some news to talk about, but no shortage right now. No shortage at all. We've got we've got a great show for you because of it, and that's the good thing here. Look, I mean, just tune into these, and
it's what we do.
And here we go. So, we'll tell you about a new coaching change here in Murray County. We'll visit with new baseball coach DEVIN SYMLAR. Is it SYMLAR or SYMLAR?
SYMLAR.
SYMLAR.
Yeah.
Okay. DEVIN SYMLAR. He'll join us at 2:20 on Coach's Corner. We'll also talk to INGRAM, Kevin Ingram, INGRAM Sports. I think that should be his logo. We should make him like a ram logo with a crown. That should be his logo. It'd be hilarious.
I'd like to think that he's come up with that, or someone has come up with that before us, as long as he's been on the scene. But yeah, still, that's solid. It's solid for sure.
And we're gonna debut that some point in the future. But now Kevin Ingram will join us, talk a little bit about Vanderbilt baseball. They're hosting a big regional this weekend, and we'll also talk about the SEC down in Destin. They've been fighting over 9 games for football. We'll get into that a little bit, and also game times have been announced for some of the teams. Vanderbilt and Tennessee have some game times already announced, so all of that.
And there is a game time that has met with some consternation from a certain fan base. A breakfast with the Volunteers in Nashville, I think, has a few folks a little bothered.
I would imagine so.
I guess because you're going to have to cut your Friday night short.
Well, and we can get into it a little bit later, but one of the things that, for me, I like the early kickoff. Some people are like, well, it kills tailgating, and that's understandable. I get that. But if Tennessee wins, then you get to go watch the rest of the day, rest of the football games, either at your tailgate spots. You can cross the river and go to Broadway. You can, you have all day to celebrate and enjoy the win. Now, if you lose,
then you're not in the mood for any of that.
Well, maybe not, or you can
go drown it.
You can either drown it or at least, what's the word I'm looking for? It's no.
Forget it.
Yes,
Selective
but
amnesia?
not. Yes, forget, but not that.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of the word, and that's gonna bug me.
I think one of the concerns, though, is a midday kickoff that early in August or that early in the season. It's going to be a little toasty out there, you would think.
By the fourth quarter, it will be, especially with turf.
Yeah,
that's
so.
And Tennessee apparently doesn't have air conditioned helmets like LSU does. Have you seen these?
I saw somebody tweet that. I remember when when drinking water during practice was soft, and now we got air-conditioned helmets. So
there's that, and here we are these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about game times, a little bit of Braves, some MLB news as they are fighting Diamond Sports Group right now.
One team in particular, I guess.
Yeah, but there's been an article on Barrett Sports Media that is kind of bombshellish, and it's pretty big stuff. So we'll get into that as well.
We talked about this a few months ago and wanting to get somebody on that's better versed in that than we are.
Distract.
Distract. Yes.
That's the word.
Yes. If you were to lose that game that early in the day, you might need a distraction. So yes. Yeah. There you go.
Continue.
Yeah.
we were talking.
We were
about
talking
this.
about trying to get somebody on who knew more about that situation than we do, and didn't have much luck. But we need to find somebody that, and it won't be hard to find somebody that knows more about that than we do, because all I know is somebody missed some payments and the Padres are no longer on Bally.
Didn't miss payments.
Or didn't make payments.
Willfully did not did not make the
No,
payment.
we didn't miss. We knew they were due. We just chose not to make them. Yeah.
And so you got to, there's a lot that goes into that. We will talk a little bit about, because again, there's a great story on Barrett Sports Media that we can kind of jump into. I'll link it so you can see it.
That'd be good.
But all of that and much, much more. It's going to be a fantastic Thursday. Let's get into this wonderful Thursday and get you the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Results from Wednesday, yesterday, in Major League Baseball. The Twins defeated the Astros 8-2. It was Cincinnati 5, Boston 4. Milwaukee with a 4-2 win over Toronto. Tampa Bay stays hot with a 4-3 win at Wrigley Field. Was it at Wrigley? It was against the Cubs.
I don't know where it was.
I don't know where it was. And the Braves salvaged a game in the 3-game series against Oakland, winning 4-2. College World Series action in the opener earlier, about 15 minutes ago. Tennessee wrapped up a 10-5 win over SEC rival Alabama.
Major League Baseball today, it's the Brewers and Blue Jays. That game is currently in progress, and the Blue Jays lead the Brewers 3-0 in the top of the 8th inning. Reds are at the Red Sox tonight at 6:10, and the Angels are at the Astros at 7:10. Minor league action this evening at 6:04. That's right, 6:04. It's the Sounds at the Charlotte Knights. Women's College World Series action. Stanford takes on Oklahoma at 2:16. That'll be on ESPN. Oklahoma State got Florida State tonight to start the second session at 6 p.m. on ESPN, and following that will be Utah and Washington, also on ESPN.
NBA Finals, Game 1. Miami is at Denver. That's a 7:30 tip-off, and it can be seen on ABC. WNBA action, the Connecticut Sun is at the Minnesota Lynx. That's a 7 o'clock tip, and it can be seen on Amazon Prime. And early Friday, NCAA baseball regional action before we air tomorrow afternoon, so I wanted to be sure you know. Ball State is at Kentucky, stepping out of the dorms and onto the field in Lexington. That's an 11 o'clock start on SEC Network. And at noon on ESPN Plus, number 4 seed Lipscomb takes on top seed at Clemson. And that is your rundown.
Easy enough. Top story today, we go just a bit north, where some news out of, I guess it's out of Nashville today.
It seems to be. Even though it's not the last place that he played.
And I'm not even sure that there was a contract signed or anything, but Brett Kern has announced he will retire, and obviously spent all but
the large majority of his career,
as a Titan. Of course, last year he was a member of the Philadelphia Eagles and made a trip to the Super Bowl. But Kern announced today in front of Nashville media that he was hanging up the cleats for good, and heck of a career for a guy like Brett Kern. Rarely do we talk about punters and kickers retiring, but
rarely do they get to. They don't usually retire. They just get cut and don't get re-signed.
Yep. I mean, there are just so many.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah, so many instances where these guys just kind of sort of fade into the oblivion. and
Fade off into Bolivia, as a famous
love it.
boxer once said.
that's great.
Of course, I wouldn't say it in front of him.
No, no. But yeah, how about Brett Kern? Great career.
Brett Kern played for Jeff Fisher. He might have been the last active player to play for Fish.
Probably.
Well, to play for Fish as a Titan, maybe. Maybe, period. How long has he been out?
11?
Yeah. So, but yeah, happy trails to Brett Kern. He, there were some Titan teams that he was the bright spot on.
Yeah. There were times where Brett was the best defense or offense that we had.
Both.
Sometimes both. That's right. But he was one of the most productive punters in the NFL, according to TennesseeTitans.com. Set numerous club records, cementing himself as one of the best directional punters in NFL history. Played college ball at the University of Toledo. Was an undrafted free agent with the Broncos in 2008. Played 22 games with them before he was released. Claimed off waivers by the Titans through the 2009 campaign, and that's when his career took off.
Kind of like one of his punts.
Which is kind of ironic considering, typically punters have good luck in the Mile High City. And a guy like Brett, maybe that was his problem. His punts weren't direct. He wasn't able to pin people because they were going too far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, too high.
Too high. What does that even mean?
Finished his career in Tennessee as the team's all-time leader in punts. Not sure if that's good or not. Gross punting average, that is good, almost 46 yards per punt. Net punting average of 40 plus, and punts placed inside the 20. Owns 9 of 10 net punting seasons, none of the top 10 net punting seasons in franchise history, and 6 of the team's top 9 gross punting seasons, and ranks 3rd in career games played for the Titans.
So here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Ring of Honor for a punter?
Not for a punter, for this punter. I mean, I think when you just look back over everything that we just read, I think he kind of goes above and beyond a punter.
I would agree. Look, rarely would you think, and here's the thing, don't forget that Brett Kern was a phenomenal holder on extra points and field goals for a long time.
And that's something that really gets lost.
It does.
Until one gets fumbled.
Tony
or,
Romo.
Hello. Yeah.
That's so. I mean, I'm probably putting 6 up there.
I think you probably have to look at who else is up there, see who else should be up there that isn't to this point, maybe, before you get too deep into that. But I think there's a case that can and should be made.
I mean, I would certainly like. I would certainly like to think that if you're going to preach offense, defense, special teams, that a guy like Brett Kern,
Who was so pivotal on special teams?
yeah, deserves that opportunity.
Sure. Yep.
I don't know. It's.
I certainly think it's worthy of a discussion.
Yeah. And look, I'm not a longtime Titans fan, but I mean, I paid attention enough to know that Brett Kern was the most valuable player for several of those mid-teens years, and I think it's worth that discussion. But yeah, heck of a career. Talked today about spending time in Tennessee, and obviously coming back here, I think shows that Brett really felt at home in Nashville and felt like he was a Titan no matter what. And I think that's kind of important.
Again, he spent 15 years here, so
there you go. Let's dive into this real quick, Mo. Got a couple of minutes, and we don't have to. We can push some of the conversation if necessary, but I just mentioned or noticed that some game times for several Vanderbilt and Tennessee games have been announced also for bowl season. And so I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of them because, as you mentioned off air, one in particular, or no, you mentioned it on air. We just talked about it. The 11 a.m. kick against Virginia has gotten some Tennessee fans up in arms, but playing in the Swamp at night, 7 p.m. Eastern kick for Tennessee at Florida in Gainesville. Is that something Tennessee should be concerned with, worried about?
I don't think they should be any more worried about it than any other time. I mean, the Swamp has never I don't think the Swamp is Tiger Stadium along those lines. And I think Tiger Stadium plays different at night. I just think Florida's a tough place to play, period. And that's not to say that LSU is an easy place to play during the day. I just think it takes on historic proportions at night. You know, to me, I think when you think of some of the biggest games that have been played at LSU, you know, that Alabama game from years ago, I mean, just pick one. But so many of those games were played at night, and it really seems to be an equalizer for LSU when that crowd has had all day to marinate.
Yeah, and I don't think Florida is an issue. I think playing in Florida in September at night is probably a positive.
Well, yeah, for the same reasons that we kind of talked about UT playing a midday game in Nashville in, you know, early September or Labor Day weekend or whatever that game is against Virginia. It's, you know, the weather conditions aren't going to be as oppressive at night as they would be. So I think there's a little bit of a break there, probably.
And it's going to be weird not hearing dun, 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 dun in front of that game.
Or any others, I don't guess.
I think this is the last year of CBS and the SEC.
Okay. Yeah.
But if this game's at 7 o'clock, it's not going to be on CBS. So
No,
never
I think it's
again.
an ESPN game.
It's an ESPN game at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock our time.
Mm-hmm.
But man, not hearing that and not hearing Danielson's voice with Tennessee, Florida is going to be awfully weird.
Yeah, I think that's a trade-off that a lot of UT fans will make, though.
Not if you get Mac Jones at the night game. But that's neither here nor there. We need to take a break. We have Devin SYMLAR standing by. He'll be on Coach's Corner on the other side of the break. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back to the Lee Company studio right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here with you on this fine Thursday as we get you ready for little college baseball this weekend.
College softball this weekend.
College softball has already started in Tennessee with that big win earlier we mentioned. Kevin Ingram still to come, talking a little Vanderbilt with us as well. But right now, we welcome in brand new, newly minted Columbia Central baseball
Barely
coach.
24 hours.
Barely. And that is DEVIN SYMLAR. DEVIN, welcome in. Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Are you getting used to it, Coach?
It's been a quick 24 hours, so it's been a lot of moving pieces going on. So I'm trying to get my feet settled in.
You know, one of the great sayings that I became familiar with guys going, or with people going from assistant coach to head coach, is going from making suggestions to making decisions. What's your anticipation of that? I mean, I would imagine you either have already found yourself in that position or will soon enough. I mean, y'all got tryouts coming up. Have y'all already had tryouts?
Yes.
What's your situation
So
as far as that goes?
we will set our tryouts. Hasn't been set just yet, but we got some dates in mind that we'll probably announce here in the next day or two. But as far as the decisions and stuff go, Coach Pickle did a really good job of kind of letting me have more input this second year. So I feel a little bit more confident with making some decisions, even with just lineup calls and stuff like that and pitching matchups. He was kind of, get more of not just input, but kind of let me make some decisions on those. So I was glad that he kind of let me do that second year. So now I feel a bit more prepared going in.
It's awesome. I see you sporting the Game Time lid there.
That's right.
You do some work over there now. Are you going to continue with that? You're going to be a non-faculty head coach?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I'll be a non-faculty coach over there. So I'm going to stay at my full-time position here at Game Time and make sure that my hours are they're always very flexible here. So not a lot is going to change on my schedule end, and I'll just have a little bit more of a role in, like you said, decisions and have more input on what goes on in the afternoon. So my business day during the day will kind of stay the same.
How do you feel like that impacts, you not actually being in the building and being able to interact with those guys, between classes, have them in classes, that kind of thing? Or how do you see that?
I think you could look at it as a negative. You could look at it as a positive. But I've got a good relationship with all the teachers. One of the things that we talked about in our interviews was just like, this situation doesn't always come up, but if it was a situation where you didn't have a teacher in the building, it kind of works out in my favor that I can get up there in about 2 or 3 minutes with no issues. So I've got a pretty good schedule here where I know I can get up there. And like I said, I know plenty of those teachers. So when I walked in to some of those meetings and stuff that we had, there was all, kind of a reunion in there. So the teachers know me, and I think that's what will kind of help everything smooth over. So I can get up there if I need to.
You know plenty of those teachers. You had plenty of those
That's
teachers.
right. That's right. I had plenty of
2016
them. I had plenty of
graduate.
them.
I mean,
That's right.
what is that like, Dev? I mean, just the going from the student-teacher dynamic to the peer dynamic.
That's probably the most different part of it. Just, teachers not too long ago, and now we're, peers and friends, and we can interact and talk in a different way now. And even Pickett said something about it. I think he mentioned about, seeing me grow up as a 16-year-old kid and then into a profession, and now we talk to each other as friends now. So that's been something that's been just kind of cool to go through.
That is neat. Now, with your position at game time, how difficult is it to, make sure that you don't break any rules about training?
Yeah.
Is that hard or?
Yeah, just making sure just communication and knowing exactly what I can and can't do. The TSSAA dead period is still the same, so I don't have any interaction with any of the athletes during that 2-week dead period. But it's as long as we know we're on the same page with everything. It's been smooth sailing so far in the first 2 years.
Perfect.
So you just make sure you take vacation those 2 weeks.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right. Yes, I already got one planned.
There we go.
That works out. Devin SYMLAR here with us on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Devin, succeeding a guy like Mark Pickle can't be easy. And trying to fill his shoes is impossible. So how do you make your own way as a head coach?
I would say that you definitely got to keep the standard that he set. He's done it the right way for 26 years, and that's something that you definitely want to have in place. But like I was telling Mo yesterday, keeping that standard, but then putting my own twist on a couple of things with just a little bit more youth, a little bit more fire, a little bit more energy and stuff throughout practice, and that's just something that I'm hoping to bring for him. I had 2 great coaches in college, and I've already got plans and little booklets made out of what I learned from them, and I just plan to give that to the younger group that we've got coming through. So just basically taking what all 3 coaches have given me and passing it down.
What, Devin, as you look at this program and you see you advanced to the region semifinals this past year, but really the last couple of years have not been, to the standard that Columbia Central baseball has established over a long period of time. What's it take to get back to those 20-win seasons, to those sectionals, to those potential state tournament runs and that kind of thing?
I definitely think that we're on the right track now. I think when I first got there, my first year, that's when I knew that we kind of had to get things rolling. That's part of the reason why I came in is Coach Pickle knew that we had to get bigger, faster, stronger. And that was something that I had gotten my degree in. So it kind of worked out perfect on that end. So then going into year 2, we took another step forward. And honestly, in the middle of the season, we took a giant step forward where they learned how to win in close games. So once they started to figure out, hey, we can pop some of these good teams as long as we're playing the game the right way. Once they kind of figured that out, then, we kind of got the ball rolling and got hot at the right time. But honestly, it's just building off of the end of the season, getting back to what we do in practice. They've made such big progressions. Some of these, I guess, juniors and seniors now, when they were freshmen and sophomore, they were weighing 130, 140 pounds, and now they're in at 160, 170. So we're looking to take another jump in the weight room. I know that'll be huge for us. The skill work that we can provide to these guys is going to help them a ton. But just keep doing what we've been doing. Honestly, we've got the experience is going to help a lot. Getting the experience in the regional, and like I said, now they know how to win some of those close games, and now we just got to keep doing what we've been doing.
Newly named Columbia Central baseball coach Devin SYMLAR joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. Friend of the show, Renee Hart, and her folks keeping you well fed over there as you head to the golf course or come off the golf course over at Henry Horton. So be sure and go check them out at From the Heart Cafe. Dev, you talked about the jump that you guys made during the season, and a lot of times that's not necessarily the case. What do you feel like prompted that?
I would say, it was. I'm trying to think. It was a middle of the season. We were playing Ravenwood, and we had gotten. I never like to look at umpires or anything like that, but we got two tough calls on us that didn't go our way. And that point, we kind of came back the next day. I think we played them on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Got roughed up. Heads were pretty down. Gave them all we had and couldn't come through. Well, then we came back Friday, Saturday, and bats got hot, started rolling. I think we could just kind of learn how to deal with some adversity. So when they took that step forward, then we kind of went on a roll. I think we had like 8 or 9 games in a row where we had 8+ hits. So we kind of got the bats rolling. They just started playing confident, and then it kind of just took off from there.
And then you beat Ravenwood to open the District 12.
And we knew we'd get them back, so that kind of worked out the way we wanted to.
Beat them 9-5 in 8 innings, which is a number that you don't see very
Right.
often. But that kind of validated, I guess, what had taken place up to that point.
Yeah, and there was a call in that first game that went in our favor, and I didn't even agree with it, but that call kind of came back, and it came back in our favor, and it's just how it works out. That's how baseball is.
Baseball has a way.
Baseball has a way.
Yeah, you didn't give it back, right?
Didn't give it back. So.
Take what you can get and go with it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I say. Devin, we're really excited about this because obviously it's a new era for Columbia Central, but obviously you've got a long history with the program and have kind of found your way back after a few years going and playing at different schools and obviously playing here in Columbia for Columbia State. That's there's something to go with that. When you have college experience like that, how much of an impact does that have for you understanding how to help the players who can play at the next level get there?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in our room right now that aspire to be at the next level. And I think that's where I can come in perfectly because everything they did when they were everything they're doing at 15, 16, I did. So I know the route that they need to be taken to get there. And that's something that, I tell them, hey, look, guys, I don't have all the answers, but I can help you as much as I can. And if you want to follow, then we'll get you where you want to be. But that experience definitely helps me. Just, being able to play for, like I said, 2 really good coaches. I know what great baseball looks like. I may have not have played at the Division I level, but I know what good baseball looks like. There's definitely a difference there, but just knowing what good baseball looks like and being able to pass that to these guys is something that I want to keep going. And just, like I said, keep progressing. And I know what the route looks like, and I just want to keep these guys on it.
What is Columbia Central baseball going to look like under DEVIN SYMLAR that it has not looked like under Mark Pickle?
We're going to play with a lot of energy. You're going to see a different look on the faces. Coach Pickle's always great, but it was very businesslike, which I want to keep a certain chunk of that. But when I got back, it felt like the kids weren't having as much fun with it. And when I was here, we had fun. So it has nothing to do with Coach Pickle. It's all about what's going on in that locker room. So I just want to make sure that we've got the right set of kids in there that want to be there. Like I said, we had a lot of fun playing under Coach Pick, and that's just something I want to bring back. So I just want to make sure that we got the right guys in the locker room and that they're doing the things they need to do day to day on and off the field, and just keeping that going.
You were just named yesterday as baseball coach. Last week, Tredarius Goff, who is a little bit older than you, but still relatively new to this business, was named interim football coach at Columbia Central. How well do you guys know each other? Is there any kind of synergy?
We've definitely talked in the past. And like I said, growing up together, I think I used to go to church with my grandmother, and he would be there with his family some. So definitely a history in the past. Haven't talked as much here as of late. But we were doing a little bit of the football team's workouts, and I was up there for that. And So we kind of caught up a little bit then, and I'm sure that we'll see each other plenty coming up, and we'll probably get on the same page with a lot of different stuff because we're sharing some athletes now. So I plan to have a pretty good relationship with him, and I'm sure he'll do the same.
Devin SYMLAR here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Devin, again, thanks for taking some time with us today. Congratulations and good luck. We look forward to seeing you on the diamond soon.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Time to hand out a little hardware, Mo. And, well, sometimes when we hand out this hardware, it all goes to one place.
It gets a little monotonous. But, I mean, when it's this time of year and when it's a weekly award, and given the events of last week, you kind of get what you get. So the floor is yours.
We'll start with the End-to-Win Life Team of the Week, presented by our friends at Custom Stone Handlers, where they proudly encourage young people to get in the game. Give them a call, 931-490-4990 or CustomStoneHandlers.com. And this week's End-to-Win Life Team of the Week, well, I was with them all week.
You were
Summertown
with them all week.
Tennis.
And yeah. I'm almost surprised you're not in the picture.
You know what? I might be a little surprised at that too. Coach Andrea Kelly with her, did someone say 11th championship ring?
When you got more rings than you got fingers, that's pretty impressive.
She's got a doubles as a player. She's got 4 team titles, 3 doubles titles, and then however many
That's
volleyball
8
championships that she won.
Can't forget those volleyball championships.
So,
yeah.
And there's at least 3 of those. It may be 12. I'm not sure. But she's got a bunch. So congratulations to Andrea Kelly and the Summertown Tennis team for being our End-to-Win Life Team of the Week.
I hope she's got a big safe to put all those in.
She's got a really big team with some really big rings.
Yeah.
And a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Rings, plural.
Rings.
Yes.
With an S or a Z, your choice. The MTBJ Athlete of the Week, Mo.
Gracie Kelly of Summertown Tennis.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, daughter of Andrea. Won her only singles match, right?
Yeah, don't remind her.
Yeah, well, I think she should feel a little bit better, though, because she and her sister Anna Lee won all 3 of their doubles matches.
Including beating the girl that she didn't finish her singles match with.
Who she would have beaten if she had finished, right?
Most likely. She was up 5-4 in that second set and had already won the first one. So.
Yeah. But Gracie Kelly, what, a 3-time doubles champion?
3-time doubles champion, 3 in a row.
And a 3-time team champion? Because they won 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, they won 3 or 4.
So, yeah.
And she's got some volleyball rings, too.
She's got, yeah. They got all the rings.
They do, in fact, have all the rings.
Yeah.
And, Gracie had a great tournament, both singles and both in the team and in doubles. So it was really cool, and to watch her and Annalie take home that title together. And one of the great quotes that I got from Andrea was that she told Gracie, "Look, you're playing for you because it's your senior year, but Annalie's playing for you too because she don't want you to go out a loser," and she didn't. So, heck of a job by both of those.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, talk a little baseball and Major League Baseball broadcasting rights. So all of that coming up in just a moment. Stick around here on Main Street Sports. We'll be back to the Lee Company studio after this.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up. You You lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
Vroom, vroom, time for the Rackley Roofing 200, and it is going to be June 23rd out at the Nashville Super Speedway. And we partnered up, all of us here at Main Street Media TV, and we have joined with Rackley Roofing to send you. Yep, what you got to do to win? All you got to do is go to your favorite Main Street Media website, look for the Enter to Win banner, click there, and you're in. Like Flynn. Isn't that cool? Main Street Media TV and Rackley Roofing sending you to the races.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
There is nothing better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park, each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
June 1st, 1961, Billy Martin, purchased by the Milwaukee Braves from the Cincinnati Reds over the offseason, was traded on this day to the Minnesota Twins, ending a tenure that featured just 6 at-bats.
What?
6. He was 0 for 6, by the way.
Of course he was. So you don't trade a guy who's 6 for 6.
He spent the remainder of the season with the Twins, finishing his playing days that year before embarking on a scouting, coaching, and managing career with the Twins, Tigers, Rangers, Athletics, and most famously, the Yankees. Did 3 stints with the Yankees, which means he was fired 3 times by the Yankees.
At least twice.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ended
I'm pretty sure he was fired 3 times. That was this day in Braves history.
Oh, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Braves. Got a big win yesterday. A salvage of a 1-game piece of that 3-game series in Oakland. It wasn't easy. Looked like it was going to be. Then it wasn't. But doesn't matter. Braves get the win, and that's what's important.
Braves get the win, and they are what? Second? They have the second best record in the National League now, is that right? Behind the Dodgers?
Oh, do they?
I believe so. The Braves are 33-23 on this off day. The Dodgers are 34-23.
Well,
actually, they're tied for second best because the Diamondbacks are also 33-23.
Well, we get a chance to take advantage of that.
Or not.
Hey. Listen, the Diamondbacks are second best team in the league. They will play well.
The Diamondbacks are scoreless against the Rockies in the bottom of the first. So,
where? Oh, in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
So they will either be a half game up on the Braves or a half game back of the Braves when they meet tomorrow at 8:40 our time. So get you a nap.
Yeah, you'll have to have a nap if you want to stay up for that one.
You hate those West Coast games, man.
It'll be Charlie Morton and Merrill Kelly. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow. But I mean,
tomorrow's going to be busy, man.
You
between what you got UT and
no. Oh wait, yes, UT tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Is
because Clemson plays the early game against
Yeah.
Lipscomb.
That's right.
So it's UT and Charlotte. It's Vanderbilt and Eastern Illinois. And you got the Braves.
And if you're headed to First Horizon to watch the Bananas,
if you're headed to First Horizon to watch the Bananas,
you can do that, but you won't be able to see any of the other stuff.
No, you won't. But but again, if you don't have tickets, be careful going to First Horizon.
Yeah.
So
make sure you have them scan them if you buy it from the scalper outside.
Yeah, keep that guy with you till you get in. But yeah, like you said, big win. Who'd have thought big win at Oakland would be a phrase going into that series?
But today, at least, they get an off day and maybe a chance to rest a little.
Actually, it sounded like a few of them are going to play golf today.
Well, that's
their rest.
That seems like good enough rest for me.
Yeah.
Who's that? I was talking to John Varlas at tennis the other day about you having golf clubs in your trunk, and not one time in the 3 years that we've spent nearly every day together have you ever said, I'm going to play golf.
No. But, I mean, I got drafted into a scramble once, and it wasn't good. And I knew it wouldn't be, and I told them it wouldn't be.
So it's a scramble.
But yeah, thank goodness. But you never know when a golf game might break out.
You never know.
Or when I just need to go a driving range and take out some frustrations on some.
Well, and that's what I was like, I don't know if Mo actually golfs or not. I know Justin plays. Justin's going to go golf. He's going to go golf when he gets, if he's got any time off.
Yeah,
he's going to be on the golf course.
Well, just remind me of that, because the next scramble I was sure
call him instead. Yeah. Don't call me, because I'm going to be throwing the ball. I don't even have clubs.
There we go.
I got you.
Yeah, but
I can putt.
Yes, I do have clubs, and every time somebody's with me when I open my trunk, they say, "Oh, you play?" I said, "I don't play often, and I don't play well
at all, ever."
Yeah, so, full disclosure. Yeah, but I do have them.
But it's it can be a good like little relaxed day if you're not worried about how good you're playing.
No.
You can't worry about it. You just got to go out there and hit it.
That's you got to be able to laugh at yourself when you have my golf game.
A good walk spoiled, they say.
That's it. But yeah.
Oh man, let's get into this Bally Sports situation here, because this is nuts. We talked about it potentially, that Bally Sports and Diamond Sports Group going bankrupt. Apparently, according to Rob Manfred, that was a negotiation tactic
on Bally's part.
This is what Manfred said in the courtroom. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, and this is he's saying this is what Bally told him. I'm gonna keep this thing going long enough until I get my $2 billion out. Then I'm gonna start squeezing your clubs to take their rights fees down in order to make sure that I stay profitable in the RSN business. And if they don't agree to that, I'm gonna put the entity into bankruptcy, and I'm gonna start selectively rejecting contracts.
Well, and I guess that's what they've done.
Manfred said RSNs, whoever the hell owned them, made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in profit off these long-term agreements. And we felt that because they had enjoyed that long period of huge profits, that when things started to look like they were maybe not quite as profitable, to turn around and say, we're going to squeeze you and make you take lower rights fees, didn't sit very well with us.
So what you're telling me is somebody has found a way to make Rob Manfred look good?
Yes. That's how bad Diamond Sports Group is that Rob Manfred looks like the winner here.
Looks like the victim.
He's on the right side of this thing. And Major League Baseball turned around and said, look, that's fine. We'll take over your broadcasts. We don't have a problem with that.
Now, does that just mean that they are just, that there's no personnel change, that whoever's been putting on the broadcast will continue to do them? They're just going to air someplace differently? Is that?
Yes, but my guess is you have to become an MLB employee.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
But I mean, you're going to be the same. I mean, it's still going to be the same.
Same voices, probably
Yeah.
the same camera operators, more than likely, same almost everything, except.
They're just being paid by MLB.
And Major League Baseball is getting all of the money, all of the advertising fees and all of that. Now, here's what happened in San Diego that's kind of a problem, and this is how it all happens. Diamond Sports Group refused to pay the rights fees back to, or the portion that was due to the Padres. They did not pay the rights fees to the Padres. And MLB TV, I'm not sure if you have MLB TV, anybody out there, but if you do, if you're in their local market, then the game is blacked out.
Which does Padres fans in San Diego no good.
So they've
lifted the blackout?
Lifted the blackout, kind of. But if you already had an MLB TV subscription, you don't just automatically get San Diego games, which doesn't make any sense. They're making them pay an additional $79 for the rest of the year. Wow. And so, of course, he's going to find a way to look like a jackhole in this.
As he so often does.
So
I mean, why would you not just waive the $79?
Why would you not just put them on?
Yeah.
Just put them on. They've already paid for it. So
because they're not going to get any money back from Diamond Sports Group, the fans that paid to get Bally in their package or whatever.
Correct. It's a little frustrating, but there are only 14 teams that have Bally. There are other regional sports networks that have some, like, I know the Yankees have their own Yes. Mm-hmm. Red Sox have NESN. There are others out there.
But one of the other 13 that has Bally is
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that all of the Bally properties are going to be Major League Baseball properties very soon.
I guess I better be saving up my pennies for my $79 then, huh?
I guess. Or just stop paying DirecTV for use that money elsewhere. But yeah, that's what it looks like.
Reallocate, yeah.
In order to make up for lost profits, the league will pay the afflicted teams a minimum of 80% of the money owed. So at least the teams are getting some money out of it, but they're getting it from Major League Baseball, which means it's probably their money in the first place.
What we gonna get?
I think this is interesting. But they notified us. Rob Manfred on Diamond Bally giving up Padres broadcast rights. They notified us literally 24 hours before they went off the air.
Less than 24 hours before they went off the air. Yeah.
That's nuts, man. It's absolutely nuts. And this whole thing doesn't make any sense anyway. Because here's the thing. You have to remember, Bally is not just...
It's not just
baseball.
No.
It's where the Preds play. It's where the Grizzlies play.
Yeah.
It's where the Hawks play. It's
Hornets.
Hurricanes. Everybody in Florida. I mean...
I think the Reds, Indians, Blue Jackets play on Bally Sports Ohio.
Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, Guardians, and Cavaliers.
Did I say Indians? I did say Indians. I said Reds, Indians.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Indiana
that
Pacers.
Baseball team in Cleveland.
Both St. Louis teams, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Thunder, Spurs, Rangers, Stars, Mavericks, Pelicans. Not everybody in Florida. Magic Heat. Oh yeah, everybody in Florida. They just had them up higher. Tampa Bay, Florida Panthers. I mean, this is massive. This is a massive situation, especially for Major League Baseball, because again, 14 teams. That's
nearly
almost half your league. And you're going to pay 80% of the money owed to them, to all 14 of them?
Yeah.
No wonder they got to get $79 a pop.
Well, they're going to pay, but they're also going to get the advertising revenue, I would think. Right?
Yes.
So,
But then you got to resell that advertising revenue. Because my assumption is that, and I don't know this because I obviously don't have the contracts in front of me. My assumption is that you paid to be on Bally, not necessarily to be on Bally Padres games. You paid to be on Bally Sports South, for instance. You didn't pay. It's like paying to be on Main Street Media TV, not necessarily Main Street Sports Today. There's a difference. And so, all those teams got to go in and say, hey, breach of contract. We're done advertising on your station. Then you got to go over to Major League Baseball, and they've got to have a new contract for you, and then you got to negotiate that. How long is that going to take? Are there even going to be commercials in the middle of these games? Because if you watch MLB TV, the commercials are all MLB stuff. It's just it's just like that's all it is. It's not actual commercials. The Dodge dealership in Smyrna, Georgia, isn't advertising on MLB TV.
good point.
So there's a lot that has to happen here, and I've been really interested in this from the beginning, but there's still not enough information out there to really understand what it means.
What it means. Yep.
And so, it's essentially.
So if you guys have any idea of who we can talk to get a better feel for what it means,
gosh, we'd love to know.
Hit us up, please.
Up to $1 billion in rights fees would be owed. $1 billion. That's $800 million if you paid everybody 80.
$1 billion
with a
B.
Oh, man. All right. Well, there you have it. That's where it sits, and I'm not going to hold my breath that Bally Sports South is going to be playing Braves games very, very much longer. And here, I'm here to tell you, I'm happy about it because I'm not paying $75 a month for cable to watch it. I'm just not going to do it. So, however else I have to get them, that's what I'll do. We'll take a break. Kevin Ingram is standing by. We'll talk to him about Vanderbilt. We'll talk to him about Vanderbilt's regional action this weekend. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bar and Joint. We'll be back to the Lee Company studio in just a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org, or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Welcome back to Today's Better Health. I'm Colleen Barton, and I'm here with Dr. Gil Kentoff and Dr. Wendy Toohey, and we're talking about the latest treatments in back and neck pain.
Many people, Colleen, come to see us with neck and back pain, and they develop tingling and numbness down the arm or lower back pain that develops into sciatica shooting down their leg. And for these patients, we have an advanced treatment technology, non-surgical decompression therapy that we really introduced to this area. It separates the vertebrae and creates a suction to allow fluids and nutrients back in to heal the disc naturally, relieving pressure on the nerve and on the joint. It's an amazing treatment.
We've been helping patients like this for the last 30 years, helping them get back to work, get back to their family, get back to the life they want to live.
I mean, it really is amazing. Technology helping us to live pain-free and better lives.
Right.
And I bet you have a special offer.
The first 25 callers will receive an examination, x-rays, review of our findings, and their first treatment, all for $39.
Call 615-551-3897 today to receive this special offer.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here in the Lee Company studio. Glad to have you guys with us. Man, again, crazy week it has been, crazy weekend it will be, and it will start tomorrow at Hawkins Field with Vanderbilt hosting a NCAA baseball regional. And joining us to talk about it is Vanderbilt Radio's Kevin Ingram. Kevin, welcome. How's it going?
It's going good. I look cold in that picture that you're using with the jacket and everything.
You do look cold in that picture. I was just going to mention that hopefully you won't need the the puffy coat this weekend. I don't think
we'll need the puffy coat this weekend very much. That was a selfie I took at Forbes Field at the old site there at the University of Pittsburgh. We played up there in basketball a couple seasons ago, and I went walking around. I'd been there once before years ago, but I walked, they still have part of the old fence or wall really with ivy on it and everything. It's a really cool spot if you're ever up there and have a chance to check it out.
Kevin, as Chris said, you guys opened the Nashville Regional, and I'm looking for it on this graphic, and I know it's on here, and I know I'm overlooking it, but you open tomorrow against Eastern Illinois. Is that correct?
That is right. Yep. All the way down from Charleston.
Charleston. Have you ever been there?
Oh, have I ever? Yes, I've been to Charleston a number of times.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, from your time with Belmont. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've done basketball there several times, done football there several times at O'Brien Field. So, I've been to Charleston. Always great folks, and I've enjoyed times I've been up there over the years.
That drive is awful, though.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot to see along the way, is there? No. You make your way up through the middle of Illinois.
Yeah. Oregon coming in as the number 2, Xavier is the 3. A lot of so-called analysts, experts, pundits are picking Oregon to come out of Nashville. What do you see that makes people feel that way, and how does Vanderbilt go about dispelling that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, all four of these teams that are coming here to play, well, Vanderbilt is here and the other three that are coming in, but all four of them won their conference tournaments. So you probably, if you're Oregon or Xavier or EIU, you feel good about the way you're playing. EIU's been super hot. They've won like 12 out of 13 coming in after winning the OVC tournament. And same thing for Oregon. They won the Pac-12, and for Xavier, they won their conference tournament. So, yeah, I think all these teams just coming playing well and probably feeling pretty good about how they're doing. But, yeah, that conference of Pac-12 is always good. You see Oregon a lot of years host their own regional, and we actually went out and played at Oregon State last year in Corvallis, not too far from Eugene. But yeah, I think some people, you know how it is. Pretty much any of these tournaments, people will like to come up with their popular upset pick or whatever it might be. But for Vanderbilt, I think you feel pretty confident playing well. Won the SEC tournament and turned things around that last series of the regular season against Arkansas. So this team's playing with a lot of confidence as well.
When you look at this region, it does seem, like a tough sell for the number 6 national seed. But, obviously Vanderbilt has been playing as well as anybody lately. I mean, you can talk about winning the Pac-12 and the OVC and whatever conference Xavier's in. I'm not sure.
The Atlantic 10.
Okay, the A10. Not quite like winning the SEC.
No, it's really not. The SEC is about as tough as it gets. And for Vanderbilt, they started out with a win over Auburn that, after taking 2 out of 3 against Arkansas, I think that probably felt like maybe at that point they had done enough to secure one of those top 8 national seeds. But even after losing to Florida in the second game last Thursday, they came back and got 3 more really big wins against good teams, beat a ranked Alabama team that's going to host this weekend. They turned the tables on Florida a little bit on Saturday, took advantage of some miscues in the first inning, and it really jumped out to a big lead, and then got it done against Texas A&M in the championship game. But I think that was really important for this program. They needed to win something, have something tangible to show for their efforts. So they come home from Hoover with the trophy from winning the whole thing down there against outstanding competition that you play every single day of that event. So again, I think that probably fuels this team a little bit, and they feel like they've turned things around after really a tough stretch in the back half of the SEC. You look at who all they played weekend after weekend, especially that little road stretch where they went to Florida and to Alabama on consecutive weekends, and played at Tennessee, and just played, and then Arkansas at home to finish up against a team that was ranked 2nd or 3rd in the country. So I think after all that, to win that SEC tournament really felt good for this team, and then they have something they can really hang their hats on. They have a tournament trophy for one thing, but you've just seen some of these young guys really perform well, and a lot of good performances across the board from this team.
And Kevin, you've been around Vanderbilt and the SEC long enough that when you win this tournament, inevitably somebody's like, well, when they got knocked out in early, that it didn't mean anything to them. They needed to get home and get rested for the NCAAs, blah, blah, blah. But to your point, it means something to come out of here with the trophy.
Oh, for sure, Mo. And I think different teams have different ways of looking at the SEC tournament. And you look at the last 2 national champions, they weren't around very long down in Hoover. Mississippi State a couple years ago, I think they might have went 1-2, and Ole Miss was pretty much one and done last year. Vanderbilt knocked them out. And then they barely get into the NCAA tournament and they end up winning the whole thing. So, yeah, maybe it means different things to different people. But I think for Tim Corbin and this particular program, if you're playing a baseball game, you're in any sort of competitive environment, they're there to win. They're not there to win a game, lose a couple, and go back home and now, we'll get our pitchers ready for all that. I mean, they're there to win the tournament. And I think that was perfectly illustrated after that game the first time Vanderbilt played Florida last Thursday night, a week ago tonight. Coach Corbin was not very happy with the way that game came out. And if you saw the post-game comments, they were very short and to the point. And I think if you ever need a reminder of just the compete level of that guy, as he likes to talk about, and really this program in general, that was a good showing. But yeah, I think again, for this program, if you're playing in a tournament or any game or whatever, you're there to win, and that's what they were there to do, and they got the job done.
Well, that also makes a difference too when you're talking about the College World Series. You have to understand how to win a tournament, and if you've not done that, it's hard to do. So the positive here is that all of these teams in the Vanderbilt Regional also won their conference tournament, so they played a while too. None of them are rested either. So I guess that's one positive that can come out of that. But learning how to win a tournament is important. Kevin, Enrique Bradfield Jr. This guy is a literal spark plug and has been for several years for this program. How important is he to Vanderbilt's success?
Yeah, I think he's as important as anybody, maybe on any team in the country. He just does so many things, and I don't know how he's not first team all conference in the SEC. Whatever. But you can say, well, he didn't hit 300 this year, but I would submit that he is the most impactful player in the conference and maybe in all of college baseball. If you really watch the games and see all the different things that he does, whether it's getting on base, stealing bases, distracting pitchers, bunting, or whatever on the offensive side, and he's shown more power the last couple of seasons. He's left the yard several times each of the last 2 years. But the work that he does in the outfield is second to none in all of college baseball. He has to be the best outfielder in the nation, and I would say he's the best outfielder that's ever played at Vanderbilt. In the 3 seasons I've watched him play, it's been pretty impressive. Whether it's going above the wall to make a catch or coming in and making a diving play or just simply running everything down from gap to gap. It's been so much fun to watch that guy over the last 3 seasons. And I started thinking toward, in about April or early May, I'm almost sad that I'm not going to get to watch Enrique play for very much longer for Vanderbilt because it's just been so fun. He's such a nice guy. Gosh, if you spend any time around him, you become a fan immediately. I was thinking about last winter. It was around Christmas time. I was walking out of Memorial Gym and headed out toward the car, and I passed Enrique kind of in that breezeway there behind the left field wall that goes into Memorial, like where the entrance to the baseball facility is. And I saw Enrique, and he just stops, and we have this 10-minute conversation about what our families are doing and what you're doing for the holidays and all these things. And I'm like, what a nice guy. I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have just said hello and kept on walking, but that's not how he is. And he's just such a great example for his teammates and a good leader on the team, and just a whole lot of fun to watch. And just a key guy, man. He gets on base, everything changes. I mean, you can look at the stretches for this Vanderbilt team where maybe things didn't go very well, and I would almost guarantee you that they were stretches where the other team was able to keep Enrique off the bases. And just such an impactful player and just a ton of fun to watch.
Speaking with Kevin Ingram of Vanderbilt Baseball here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. You can find him at King Ram Radio on Twitter. Kevin,
it's actually sports. It's Kingram Sports. I apologize.
We have threatened to come up with a King Ram logo for you.
Do I need a logo?
I don't know.
I think you should.
We figured, a ram with a crown on it might be pretty cool for you. Might be a little out of character for you though too. But
yeah, man, I try to keep it low key. I don't know.
Chris was asking you about Enrique Bradfield Jr. I want to ask you about R.J. Austin, because it's tough coming into this league as a freshman and being an impact guy. This guy walks off as SEC tournament MVP.
Yeah, RJ's done a great job, and you've seen him over the course of the season experience some of those ups and downs of being a freshman in the SEC, and he's been really good in the field too, and that's been a trademark of this team. Somebody asked me earlier what I felt like the strength of this Vanderbilt team is, I think it's the fielding. Just don't make very many mistakes, give away outs or give away runs. But that opening game against Arkansas, RJ had a rough go of it in the field, but it didn't really seem to faze him. He came right back and played well the rest of the series. It was outstanding in the SEC tournament. It was really big hits, and he's another guy. It's fun to watch play. Season number 1 and being plugged into a starting spot right away throughout the season, and that tells you something about the kind of trust and confidence that Tim Corbin, the coaching staff, have in that guy, that they plug him. And also Chris Maldonado, Nick's brother. Same thing. I mean, we've seen him get a ton of playing time as a first-year player, and both those guys they swung the bats. Chris hasn't really played much in the field. He's been mostly in a DH role, but RJ in the field at second base, he has been excellent, getting up the middle, making plays, or getting to the base when he needs to, or if they play in a shift, you'll see him in short right field. Really, really enjoyed watching that guy. And you think about what the ceiling is for him and some of these other young players. I mean, you look at second base, shortstop, third base. None of those guys is older than a sophomore, so that could be the combination for the next couple of years here.
When you look at this Vanderbilt team, it feels like, even as you discuss defense, what elevates this team and makes it such a threat from one year to the next in postseason play is pitching depth, quality and depth, and being able to run a bunch of arms out there. How do you feel like that plays out these next 2, maybe 3 weekends?
Yeah, I think for Vanderbilt, I mean, you got a good illustration of that down in Hoover. You remember this team has been without its ace, Carter Holton, for the better part of the last month. He hasn't really pitched hardly at all. He's been injured. I don't know that we'll see him in the postseason either. So they've had to go without him, a guy who, you're depending on to be your Friday night starter throughout the season. I mean, and when he's on, he's as good as anybody in the country. You're talking about a guy who's a freshman All-American last year and expected to do more of the same this season. And we saw him have some really good outings. So they've had to piece it together a little bit. We'll see Devin Futrell get the start tomorrow night. He's a sophomore, but he's got a lot of experience, including in the postseason. He threw a great game out in Corvallis last year when Vanderbilt put him out there in a starting role. But then after that, yeah, it might be anybody's guess as to how the pitching will stack up for the rest of the weekend. But you've seen Sam Leboki become a really key guy for this group. He's not going to come out there and throw 8 innings, but he might come out there and throw 4 or 5 really good innings. I've seen him get a start or 2 in the SEC tournament. All sorts of different contributors. It's been really interesting to watch how they pieced it together. Hunter Owen has been able to come back, another really strong left-hander, throws hard. And if he can come back and give this team a big contribution, it could go a long way toward making a deep postseason run here. But, yeah, that's the good part about this program. And it feels like this pitching staff's getting a little healthier with the exception of Holton. Everybody else, for the most part, feels like is going to be good to go. So, yeah, it's really interesting from year to year to see how Tim Corbin and Scott Brown go about making it work in terms of pitchers, because you don't always have Kamar Rocker and Jack Leiter to be those workhorses for you. You think back a couple of years when Vanderbilt hosted the regional and super regional, and those super regional games against East Carolina. Good luck trying to beat Rocker and Leiter on consecutive days and keep your season going. But a little different case here. You don't have the 2 big hammers, but they got plenty of pitching depth, and you got Nick Maldonado on the back end of the bullpen to really bring it home for you.
And Patrick Riley always seems to be in the middle of a lot of stuff on the mound. I mean, bring him in anytime, any role, and he seems to just get it done.
He does. Patrick and Thomas Schultz also. They're 2 veteran guys who've been around this program a long time, and they've played in a lot of different situations. I think Patrick is almost better in a role where you bring him out of the bullpen for long relief than making a start. He struggled a little bit at times as a starter, but you bring him in the 4th or 5th inning and try to throw him for 3 or 4 innings. He's usually lights out and has done a great job, and did in Hoover as well. He's been one of those guys that felt like at times it saved a series by just giving you some innings, chewing up some innings, and being effective and holding the team off the scoreboard. So, yeah, those 2, Riley and Schultz, are really going to be key guys, too. And Ryan Ginther, the left-hander, I think he was a little banged up during the SEC tournament, not able to go. But I would expect that he could be a factor this weekend, too.
Kevin Ingram with us from Vanderbilt Radio. Never mind what I have on the screen. It's K Ingram Sports on Twitter.
Oh, it's K Ingram Sports.
Once I get my new logo, though, we'll just be able to put up my logo,
Exactly. We'll just put the logo up, and we'll make sure it has a puffy jacket.
Right. Yeah, it's got to have a puffy jacket. If it doesn't have anything else. Or maybe a puffy jacket with a new logo.
There you go. There you go. But, Kevin, we appreciate you taking some time with us today. Looking forward to talking with you again. Before we let you go, though, I want to get your just initial thoughts on the announcement from yesterday and what the Hawk will soon look like.
Oh, it looks fantastic, doesn't it? You wish you could snap your fingers and all of it be done. That's a few years down the road from when it's going to look like that. And I get the feeling it's probably going to be in phases as far as making all that happen. But, boy, those renderings are beautiful. And I've wondered for years what it would look like if you put like an upper deck or something around the infield stands and put some seats up above the monster and left. And I know they're going to put a new building in right field kind of, between where the corner is and the street. And there's all sorts of different uses for that building. But it's really exciting. And, man, if you haven't been over to campus lately, things look a little different around the football stadium. The south end zone stands are gone. They've torn all that down. And the north end zone, they're building the new basketball facility between the back of the end zone and where the parking garage is. So it's a little different look. We have to do a lot more walking to get from the car to the building where we need to go. But when it's all said and done and all the construction's done, we're going to have some wonderful facilities for our student athletes and fans over there. So, yeah, the baseball announcement was pretty cool. I'd been told by some people who had seen it that it looked really nice. And Tim Corbin was talking about it today during his media availability that they wanted to do something a little bit different. And those plans have been in the works for a while and didn't want it to just look like everybody else's ballpark, wanted it to be unique to Hawkins Field. And it looks like they're going to try to accomplish that with the renderings that we saw.
Well, we certainly enjoyed looking at them and are anxiously awaiting for that project to be completed. But again, Vanderbilt hosting this weekend at Hawkins Field. And Kevin, we'll be listening for you.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you for having me as always. And come out and see us anytime and love to have you. And should be some good baseball at Hawkins Field. Wish we had all those extra stands because we could probably find people to fill all the seats this weekend. It's going to be fun.
I think however many seats you have or had would be full this weekend. Yeah, so enjoy that, Kevin. We'll catch up with you.
Sounds good. See you, fellas.
All right.
We'll just dive right into our next segment, Mo, because we've got, first of all, Oklahoma-Stanford knotted up at 0-0 in the bottom of the third. So,
Pitchers duel.
Okay. Not exactly what we expected, but, wanted to get into a little bit of college football here and the SEC because the SEC meetings down in Destin have been taking place, and there's a lot of debate over 8 games for a conference schedule or 9 games for a conference schedule, and it looks like 8 is going to be the way to go thanks to ESPN, I guess. ESPN said, no, we're not giving you any more money. We ain't got no more money to give you. We're laying folks off left and right. What are you thinking? So,
except Pat McAfee.
Hiring him, apparently. But we've talked about the 8 versus 9 a lot. This particular style of an 8-game conference schedule would be a 1-7, meaning 1 permanent opponent.
And 7 rotating?
7 rotating. What does that mean for Tennessee and Vanderbilt particularly?
Well, I mean, I would think that is their 1 permanent. I would think that they are each other's permanent. I would think that Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn. I mean, I think
Kentucky, South Carolina?
I guess.
It's the only real option.
Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
LSU.
Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Missouri. A&M. Kind of have to.
It's almost got to be
because you can't break up Oklahoma, Texas. Red River's going to be played.
But can you not break up? I don't think you can break up A&M, Texas, though.
Oh, you can't. Why? It ain't been played. They already ain't played it.
I think those 4 become interesting.
Missouri's just kind of on an island, as is really Kentucky and South Carolina both.
Yeah, but I think because of the time that they have both spent in the Eastern Division, I think that's probably obvious given everything else. But A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, which way do you go? And who do you deal with first? I mean, is it Oklahoma, Texas, and then A&M, Missouri are the last 2 standing? Or is it A&M, Texas being in the same state, and then, and you do make a heck of a point. They've not been playing anyway. At least Oklahoma and Texas are coming in together from the Big 12. So that's.
But it's got to be 7. It has to be 7 because you have to make it, where you play every team every other year.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting scenario. I don't love it.
I don't love 1-7. I think I like 3-6 better.
Well, of course. I mean, 3-6 is obviously the ideal situation, but if you're the SEC, why?
Yeah.
until someone forces you to play nine
That
games.
ninth
Why?
conference game, yeah.
Because obviously you have a far less chance of losing if you're not playing a conference game.
Now that in a 1-7, then that leaves you 4 non-conference. Go play somebody in a couple of those anyway.
One of them has to be a
Power 5?
Power 5.
Okay.
Per bylaws. Here's the problem. The Big Ten, when Southern Cal and UCLA, they're taking that out of their bylaws. So you don't have to play.
So what are they going to play?
They've been playing 9.
Okay, so they're going to keep playing 9 conference, and then their other 3 can be...
Only the SEC and ACC play 8.
So you're going to see a lot of SEC, ACC...
non-conference games.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm okay with.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Georgia's obviously already going to play Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Florida's going to play Florida State. South Carolina's going to play Clemson. That's just, you've got the naturals already built in.
Right.
Kentucky's going to play Louisville, etc.
Vanderbilt should be playing Wake.
Annually. And they may be. I mean, this is the third year of this series now that they'll be playing this year.
I think so.
I think Vanderbilt-Wake makes sense. But, yeah, it's interesting because, a lot of folks think this is a 1-year deal where they're going to do the 1-7 one time. And they'll try to maneuver the schedule where some of those rivalries still take place, where you don't lose Alabama LSU for a year or Alabama Tennessee for a year, Georgia Auburn for a year. So, but if you're only going to do it for 1 year, why not just go ahead?
Why do it at all?
Yeah, just blow it up.
Yeah. So
I'm really curious how this ends up. Justin, you can throw that slide up with the Vanderbilt times. Yeah. No. One more. Back one. Nope. Back one more. There we go. Vanderbilt will kick off against Hawaii at 6:30. Alabama A&M at 6 o'clock, and then that 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 o'clock Eastern on ACC Network with Wake Forest. And they get the Rebs on CBS Sports Network at 6 o'clock. So, Wake it. Talk about breakfast with the Commodores.
Breakfast with the Commodores.
Jeez, 10 o'clock.
A tradition as old as
Jefferson Pilot. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. We've got some great stuff coming your way tomorrow. Looking forward to it. So please come back with us at 2 o'clock on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Thanks again to Kevin Ingram and to DEVIN SYMLAR for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow back in the Lee Company studio on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll see you then.